Hockey's back, and I am a degenerate. So this year, I've decided to bet on hockey, all the games, every night. I'm gonna bet $1 on it. In my history, I've done history in my life. I've done a few office pools, and one year I ran an office pool, and it was the year that there was the shortened lockout year. And what I did was I basically had a poll where every week you could participate for $1, and it was all the games that week. I think Monday to Sunday, I think is how I broke it up. But and then you had to pick who was going to win every game that week. And whoever had the most correct in any given week would win 50 cents of all the dollars collected. So if I had $10 collected, they'd win $5. I would put 25 cents to the monthly pool, so whoever had the most in any given month would win all of the 25 cents from the 4 weeks of all the entries. And then the last 25 cents went to the end of the year one. So I won a couple of the weeks. I think I won one of the months. And I did wind up winning the year by a single game. I beat out George, who's probably watching this video since I'm more or less making it for him. And this is going to be a series, but we'll get to that in a second. So I wound up beating him by just a single game. So we picked all the games all year, and I had one more correct than him. George also won a couple of weeks. I think he won one or two of the months maybe. But that's how it went, and it was just fun little stuff. So Canada in the year 2021 finally passed, and I'm wearing my I Am Canadian shirt. Canada finally passed its the law. They've been trying for over a decade, even longer. But to pass the law that you can bet on single games. So before you used to have to bet on 3 minimum. That's out the door. So unfortunately, because I live in Quebec, I have to use the Mise au Jeu app, which isn't really an app. It's like a downloaded version of the website. And if you try to use the website, it really doesn't work very well. They want you to like print out or download a code and then go to the store to place your bet. So I don't want to do that every day. So I had to, and there's no app on the store that you can download. You have to like go to the website, download an APK. I don't know what it is, the equivalent on iOS. But download an APK, approve admin installation, debug stuff on your phone, and then you have like it's still online, but you have like a downloaded version of the website that you can run. And it's not great because as it's 11:30 p.m. on Saturday, what day are we? The 15th? 16th. Saturday, 11:30 p.m. on the 16th as I record this. And I cannot, there's only one game tomorrow, and I'm actually going to the game. And I can't bet on it yet. They haven't updated the site. Anyway, it's a mess. It's a pain to try and collect all my data, but I'm going to do it. The year in that office pool when I won, where we picked all the winners, I think I finished with like a 54% accuracy rate, which is so slightly better than chance, right? Flipping a coin, you're supposed to come up 50% of the time, one of the two sides, on pure chance, and I did so slightly better than that, trying to make educated guesses. I used to be very into hockey, and I knew all the teams and all the players, and I would play fantasy pools and all that fun stuff. I do not anymore. I slip out. I really only care about one team, and it's the Ottawa Senators, and I don't really pay attention to much else. And even there was a point a couple of years ago where I made a decision that I was done with hockey and I wasn't going to follow it at all. That didn't last very long. It only lasted a couple of weeks, I think 10 days. But it's that point of like, I'm not going to pay attention. I'm not going to give them the views. I'm not going to give them the clicks. I don't want any of it. Unfollowed social media, all that fun stuff. But I have disposable income now, and I think this will be fun. So hopefully my editing is up to par, and I am going to become small in the bottom right corner of the screen. Whichever side, I get confused because like when I look at this right now, this is flipped. It says, I am Canadian is backwards for me. So I don't know how it's going to come out on the video. I'm going to do a mirror flip or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to be on the right-hand corner of the screen, and most of the screen is going to be taken up by a spreadsheet I've made, which my eyes are going to be looking at here. So if it doesn't look like I'm looking at the camera, it's because I'm looking at the spreadsheet, which I have open just behind the camera to the right of it, left, hopefully for you guys. My spreadsheet's over there. So hopefully I'm in the bottom right now, and the spreadsheet's taking up most of the screen, and you can see what I've done. So it took me about 20 minutes to make this in Excel, and I've now converted it to a Google Sheet instead, just because I don't want to have it. I like having it in the cloud, and made more sense. But it took me about 20 minutes to make this. I'm going to fine tune it maybe as the season goes, but I'll just walk everybody through it. So real simple up top, away, home, who's the away team, who's the home team, who was my pick, what was the result of the pick, how much did I bet on the game. This should be $1 all the way down. And then what was my return. The leftmost column, A, is there's a little color coding here. That's just so I can know nights. So you can see it's like orange and orange for the Pittsburgh and Seattle game. And then it's for the Montreal, New York, and Winnipeg game, and goes blue, and then eventually it goes orange again. That's just, those were alternating nights. So there were 2 games on the first night, and then there was blue. There were games on the next night, and so there's just more ways for me to keep track of stuff eventually. What I'm going to want to be able to do is be able to sort by, once I get a larger data set, who I've picked and what was the result of those picks. Home team, away team, how often did they win, how often did they lose, that kind of stuff. I'm always going to be betting $1. The first line, it says Stanley Cup, no home and away in Colorado. So this is the only bet, and it's going to affect the rest of my sheet pretty much all year unless I can get positive by $5. Who knows if I can. Positive by $5 because I bet $5 on the Avalanche to win the Stanley Cup. Now, they're losing to St. Louis as I speak right now, 4-1. Not a great start of the season for them, but they can turn it around, I'm sure. They're a very strong team on paper. But that's how it goes at the start of the year. It's a crapshoot, man. I've had so many shootout and overtime. Who knows what's going to happen in those games. And I think it's on screen because the screen I'm looking at, it's not. But yeah, so I'm like at a 54% win rate, 53, something like that. The version I'm looking at is slightly updated, so it says 55% win rate, but still it's 16 wins, 13 losses. I think the one I have on screen says 15 wins, 13 losses. So I'm slightly better than Chance at this point. Let's go over to the next part of the screen. So total potential loss. At the very start, this was $1,317. If I get every single prediction wrong, that's how much I'm going to lose. And again, so it's like 192 something on the screen. I think you guys are seeing 1,290x. That if I get every single prediction wrong for the rest of the year, which statistically is impossible. Because there's over 1,000 games left, and for me to pick a coin flip wrong 1,000 times, statistically impossible. Statistically impossible. So anyway, that's every time I win in my return column, it deducts from my potential loss. My current balance is all of the bets I've made so far without having returns. So ongoing games for the next day, because I'm going to do this pretty much every night. So I'm going to pick maybe around 10 p.m. tonight. I'm going to pick the winners for tomorrow, and I'm going to place my bets. That's how I plan to go about it, as long as the MisoJur app cooperates, and it's not an app. So currently, the spreadsheet I'm looking at says I'm in the negative $12.39. 5 of those dollars are the $5 I've bet on the Colorado Avalanche to win the Stanley Cup. So currently, I have to win $13-ish to be able to not be in the negative anymore. And you can see from the return column, the highest return I have is $1.95. So I bet $1 and I won $1.95. So I won 95 cents. If every bet I make is $1, I still have only paid for less than 2 bets with that winning. So you have to get a good winner percentage here just to break even on the season. If a coin flip is 50% and let's imagine I get 50%, let's say the return is exactly $1, I'll be down $600 come the end of the year. So I have to get 50 cents more in all my wins, average, right? But you can see some of them are $1.30. I think my lowest is $1.20, somewhere in there. That's how it goes. So yeah, my total bet so far is $38. I think it should be 38 for you guys actually. Also, my total return is all of the stuff from the return column, and then my total winnings is everything from the return column minus the bet column. If that makes sense. So I've won 91 cents on my spreadsheet. I think it's $8 or maybe $7.80 on yours. But that's how it's going to go. That's how I'm going to keep track of stuff as it goes. This might wind up expanding to some more data points if I think they're interesting. We'll see. I think I might do a week diff, last 7 days diff, stuff like that, because I plan to update these videos every week. The same way I update my weight loss goals every week. I'm going to do one of these every week also. Let's talk about my mindset for gambling. So right now, I'm picking who I think will win. And at the start of the season, it's a crapshoot. Nobody knows what's going to happen. It's always new teams. There's slight tweaks, slight balances, different rosters. So I've always said it takes probably about 20 games before you really know what your team is like. Because a 5-game win streak or a 5-game lose streak can happen at any time during the year. And that's not indicative of who your team is. You need about 20 games, which is a quarter of the season, in my opinion, before you figure out who's going to be able to do what. And then you get more reliable on being able to pick it. Home teams win more percentage of the games than away teams, statistically. So you have to weigh that in. So I've heavily bet on favorites, and I've heavily bet on home teams through the first... 50 games? 38 games. For the first 33 games of the season so far. Yeah, that's how I'm betting it. And I'm trying to think ahead to my futures because I have zero confidence in my team, the Ottawa Senators. So I'm probably going to bet against them most of the time. There's heavy favorites versus heavy underdogs. And then there's when good teams face each other and when bad teams face each other. Those are the interesting ones. What happens when Ottawa faces Montreal? What happens when Tampa faces Boston? That's when you have to really who's on the road, who's at home, who's in the lineup, who's out of the lineup, what have they done in the last couple of games? Is it an afternoon game? Is it what day of the week are they playing on? Did they just play last night and the other team didn't? It's the end of a road trip. All these things you have to consider when making your picks. And it's still slightly better than chance. And the only other twist is because it's gambling. let's say it won't happen because, again, so far to date, 190 is my highest payout, which, you know, is less than a 2 times bet. So, but what happens if I get a 10 times bet? You know, a team is racked with injuries, they're on a 10-game losing streak, and they're facing, you know, the top of the league, and they get a 10 times bet. The smart bet is to bet the $1 and get a return of $1.01. Because you're probably going to get that $1.01 back. But from the gambling standpoint, you bet on the team that's going to give you the 10 times return, because you can't. 10 times $1 is worth it. It's worth losing the $1 on the chance to win the $10. I don't think it'll ever come to that, but it might, and it'll be interesting to see what my choice is then. This video is going to be mainly me explaining it. I think my future updates, I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the bets that I had made, maybe an interesting one, and then some of the ones that I hadn't made, or that we'll be making. If there's one game to talk about, it's as I try to find it in a spreadsheet, it's the Tampa Bay Detroit Red Wings game. I bet $1 and I won $1.33. Detroit was up like 6-2 at one point in that game, I think, and Tampa tied it and then won in overtime. Wow. But it turned me on to betting onto Detroit today, and they won. So there you go. I think they beat Chicago today. Just gonna check real quick. Where are you guys? Did I not bet on them again? Maybe I bet against them. Oh yeah, no, I bet against them. But they beat Vancouver. But I bet against them again. Should have learned something there, but I didn't. So that's gambling. That's hockey. That's my addiction. That's my degeneracy. And I am looking forward to seeing how much money I lose this year. Will it be $1,200 or almost $1,300? No. Will it be $600? Maybe. Will I come very close to breaking even, maybe losing $30? Probably. Well, and just wasting everybody's time. But it makes me more interested in hockey again, so that's fun. And you know what? What if I win like 200 in a row somehow? Again, statistically impossible. But what if I do it? And then I'm up. And I'm up big. Let's say I'm up like $80. Do I increase my bet from $1 to more? Maybe. When I was doing this, I was thinking like, what if I start with like quarter bets? I bet 25 cents on each game. And then when I get to $10 in the bank, I move it to 50 cents. And when I get to $30 in the bank, I move it to 75 cents. That kind of, poker styles, right? You start with the penny pots, and then you move to the 2-cent pots, and then the nickel pots, and then the dime pots as you grow your bank. My bank started in the negative, so who knows how that's going to work. But yeah. Speculations. Looking forward to it. The first in a series of videos where Jay talks about betting on hockey. Thanks for watching.